Hello, this video will review for faculty how to view a quiz statistics as well as throw out questions based upon those statistics. It will also show you how to fix a stuck quiz. You can view the quiz statistics for each quiz in your course after the students have completed it. It will show you a score distribution as to how the students have answered each of those questions in the quiz. You can also choose to throw a question out if it was marked incorrectly and you want to give only credit to certain correct answers, or if you think the question was worded odd or that students were confused and you just want to give everyone the points. Additionally, sometimes a student's quiz can get stuck in progress, meaning that it is stuck in the quiz's area and wasn't graded or pushed through to be visible in the gradebook. This usually happens in cases of when the student didn't submit it correctly, the student ran out of time and didn't submit the exam, or the student lost Wi-Fi connection and didn't submit the quiz. So you can actually go through and either reset the quiz, delete it, and allow them to retake it, or you can push it through for the student. Let's start by looking at the quiz statistics for a particular quiz. So you want to go to the quizzes area, and then you'll see the name of the quiz. A few things to let you know if it's been pushed through to the gradebook. First of all, if you see this ribbon icon, it means it is associated to a grade item, so it should be pushed through to the gradebook. Also here on the side under published, you want to see the same number twice. So 3 out of 3, 6 out of 6, 25 out of 25. That means 3 out of the 3 attempts have been published through to the gradebook. What you don't want to see is something that says 0 out of 3. That means 0 of the 3 attempts have been pushed through to the gradebook. So again, that's a telltale sign to make sure that your grades are going through to the gradebook. So let's look at the statistics. We'll do the drop down and we're going to choose statistics. And then we have three ways to look at the statistics: the user statistics, the question statistics, or the question details. So from the user statistics, we're able to see a bar graph as well as we're able to see a class average on the exam. So we have a class average of almost 70. We see some people, one person made a right at a 75, some are making around the 50 mark, and some are making around higher than a 75. And again, only 3 people took this exam. You're able then to scroll down and see the specific grade distribution per student in the course. You can also then go to the quiz statistics area, and this will still show you the same information in terms of the class average. This one is showing you the percentage of questions, so how they did per question. And then here below you can see the questions themselves as well as how the students scored on them. Now notice that these say random question because this test is randomized. So in order to see the question, you would click on it and you would be able to see the pop-up of what the question was. So in this case, it means 33% of the people that answered this question answered it correctly. Now, since this is a question pool, not all students got all the same questions. So in this case, the 0% can mean one of two things. It can mean that no one in the course got that question to be answered, and that happens sometimes in a larger random section pool, or it could mean that the people who did answer the question, all of them did so incorrectly. So to see the most detailed statistics, you're actually going to want to look at the question details tab. So the question details tab is going to show you the question itself, and then it's going to show you how people scored. So in this question, one person answered true and 2 people answered false, and then the arrow means that false is the correct answer. So this kind of gives you a little bit more specifics here. So in this case, all 3 people answered middle grades education, which is the correct answer. So this is how you can see the score distributions more specifically and make notes as to how students did. In this case, the correct answer was C, but all of the students marked A. And so in that case, that might be one that I want to look at and see, were students confused? Did they is it marked incorrectly in terms of the key there? What to do with that? So the next step is to, if you would like, to throw out questions. So if you've looked at these and you decided, you know what, I want to throw this question out, I'm going to do that. by coming beside the quiz, and I'm going to choose to grade. From there, I'm going to go to questions, and I'm going to choose to update all attempts. And then I'm going to find that question that I wanted to throw out. If you have a long list and you don't want to look through every single one on your browser, you can come in and do find in page and then paste in or type in the first couple of words and it will find the question for you. So this one again, let's say that I had incorrectly marked it, that one was actually the correct answers. So I can say give to all attempts so many points or give to certain attempts. So in this case, I want to give the people who marked number 1 the points because that was the correct answer. So I give to attempts with answer 1, and I want to do 1 point. Now be careful because you want to make sure that you're given the question value. So in this case, the question was worth 1 point, so I want to give 1 point here. I save that, and then it's going to go through all the quiz attempts and fix that for me. Down here at the bottom, it's going to give a track there. It's going to track that information. Now, what if later I come back and say, you know what, I really just want to give all the attempts that point. So in that case, I can come and say to give all attempts 1 point, save, and then down in the modification log, it tracks it. Now, it's important to note that some people didn't get 2 points here. If they got a point here and then if they answered 1 and they got a point and then I gave it to all the students, they didn't get an additional point. If they've already received the credit, they didn't get an additional point. So this one, you kind of have to think of it as overriding, not adding to. So again, I can continue to do that by going back to the questions, and I can pick the question that I want to look at. And again, I can choose to give all attempts with the points or to give certain attempts. Just make sure that you're given the correct point value for what the question is worth. And then make sure that you are reviewing the modification log at the bottom. Now, say in cases to where you accidentally marked the incorrect answer, your first step is to throw the question out, just like we did here. Your next step is to go back and fix it in the quizzes area so that in further iterations of the course, if you copy this course over to the next semester, it's been corrected. You want to do it in that order because if you correct the quiz first and then go back and try to throw the questions out, it's going to not recognize that question as being in the set anymore since you altered it. So you want to make sure to throw the question out first and then go to the quizzes area, edit the quiz itself, and then go in and find that particular question and correct it. So in this case, we'll say it was this question. I would correct it and then I would save. And now when you correct a question, it's going to ask, do you want to save it in the quizzes as well as the question library? You want to save it in both areas so that it updates it throughout the entire course. So that is the process for looking at the quiz statistics and then throwing questions out if you see fit. The next thing is looking at the grades and determining if a quiz is stuck and how to push it through. So normally you would detect that something is wrong with the quiz is when you go to the grades area and you notice that there should be a grade for a quiz and there isn't. So let's say we know that sample student 4 took the quiz, but there isn't a grade there. And so in that case, their quiz might be stuck in progress. So we would go to the quizzes area. We would do the drop down by the quiz and we would grade. And then I can look in this list. However, keep in mind that this list is a listing of all the students who have submitted their quiz and it shows you their grade. So in that case, if I know I'm looking for a specific person, if I know a specific person's quiz might be stuck, I can search their name. Now, in the case that I don't know that a particular person's is stuck and I just want to search for everybody, in that case, I would do show search options. And instead of by default, it's going to be users who have completed an attempt, let's change it to all users. So when I change to all users and have this area blank, it's going to show me all students in the course. So here I see that these three have taken it and submitted it. Student 5 just hasn't taken it at all. Notice what's happening with student 4. It says in progress. There's also this little button here that looks like a person, two people. So that it will actually let you enter as that student and submit the quiz for them. Before we do that though, I want to look at some information about this quiz. So I'm going to click on attempt 1. And I can go in and see what questions she's answered and gotten correct or incorrect, as well as the time in which she saved it. So here I can see she answered question 1, she answered question 2, question 3, question 4. Now notice this was one that was thrown out just a minute ago, but she did answer question 5, 6. So really at question 7 is when she stopped answering questions, because those arrows tell me what the correct answer is, but notice she did not mark an answer on that one. So she stopped at about question 7. So I can get more information about what happened in the quiz by looking at this quiz's event log. So in this case, I can see that the student started the quiz at this particular time, and it is still in progress because she hasn't submitted it yet. Here I can see when she entered the quiz, and I can tell when she moved from the different pages. So this looks pretty standard because remember the student answered from 1 to question 7 or page 7. So that looks pretty standard. So in this case, I feel pretty confident that she only looked at the questions that from 1 to 7 and then something happened and she did not submit. What you want to look for in cases of a student getting their quiz stuck is that if they went through and clicked through all the different pages and didn't answer any questions, but they were able to see all the questions and now they say their quiz is stuck and they want it reset and be able to take the quiz over, well in that case your quiz has been compromised because they have looked at all the questions. In this case though, she's only looked at pages 1 to 2 all the way down to pages 6 through 7. After that, she hasn't looked at any of the other questions. So if we have one question per page, we know that she's only looked at up to page 7. So we feel pretty confident with that. Also notice we can see when she saved the questions. So she was able to answer all of these questions in 1 minute time from 4:18 to 4:19. So this quiz's event log can give you a lot of good information in terms of when the student started taking the quiz, how long they're taking on each question, as well as what questions that they've looked at. And we also really encourage you to put one question per page so that this stays true to knowing exactly how many questions and what questions they've looked at. So let's say that I want to either reset this quiz or push it through. So in that case, if I want to just reset this quiz, delete it so that she can have another attempt, I will click on this box and I will choose reset, which will delete the attempt. If I wanted to submit it for her, I would click in this box, I would enter the quiz. I wouldn't want to answer anything because this is her live quiz, and I would just choose submit quiz to submit it. And in that case, it will submit the quiz and grade what she has answered. And then now you can see that it has been graded, and it will say that it has been exceeded because it did exceed the time limit. And if you go and look at the quiz log now, it will actually show that you submitted it for her. And so it will show you that you submitted for that student. So that will be on record there. Lastly, if you decide to delete the student's attempt and let them retake it, again, that process would be to go to the quizzes area, do the drop down by the quiz, and grade. And you can delete the attempt for any student regardless of if it's been submitted or not. You would just choose the checkbox by their name and reset it. Now, once you do that, you also want to make sure that the quiz window is open. So if I delete her attempt, but the quiz was already due last night, even though that they have an attempt open, they're still not able to get into the quiz because the date has passed. So if I delete their attempt, the next thing I want to do is to go to the quizzes area, and I want to make sure the quiz is still open. If it is not, I want to edit that quiz, and I want to go to the restrictions tab, and I want to come down and I want to give special access to this student. And in that case, I could give them a special end date of whatever the date's going to be, give them the same time limit as all the other students, and then select their name. And then you'll be able to see here that they have the special access. So that is important, that if you do reset their exam and delete their quiz, you want to make sure that if the quiz is already closed, you give them special access to be able to get back into it. Okay, so that's a review of how to look at the quiz statistics, throw questions out, and or fix a stuck quiz.